So here's the thing. I am pre-recording this video on the night of Tuesday, May 12th, which means that at the time of me speaking into this microphone, the Sedins have not officially been promoted yet. Ryan Johnson has not officially been named the Vancouver Canucks GM. I am fully expecting to have to make a video about these things by the time I wake up tomorrow afternoon, or I guess later today for you, because this video is coming out at 10 a.m. PST Wednesday, May 13th, so we'll get there when we get there, dive into the details and dive into some other things. But in this video, instead of talking about specifically the names that are going to be in charge of the rebuild in Vancouver, I wanted to talk about the timeline of the rebuild in Vancouver. Take a look at this yesterday on Schaefer and Price. Irfan Gaffar was brought onto the show, talking about how even yesterday, he thought Evan Gold may still be the GM of the Canucks. Whatever happened between yesterday, which, by the way, their yesterday was May 11th, and May 12th today, obviously went in favor of Ryan Johnson. That's a great quote. And I wanted to give a big shout out to Irfan Gaffar. Also, big shout out over to Canucks News Summaries, who is in Japan right now. Seems like they are just outside the Pasalabo Tower as he tweeted out this Canucks News Summaries summary. Let's skip all the Irfan Gaffar talk past Evan Gold and Ryan Johnson and whatever. We can dive into more of that later in today's show, and instead focus about what was talked about with the rebuild. Here's the summary of Irfan Gaffar's Schaefer and Price hit regarding the rebuild. Ryan Johnson knows this is a long-term process. Says there is no way he pitched a quick fix to get back into the playoffs. They know for a fact that ownership understands it will take at least 5 years to rebuild the team. Okay. That's it. That's our timeline. 5 years. Here's the thing about that. I think a lot of Canucks fans, we all panicked when we heard that Pierre Dorion was in the mix, or heck, the front runner for the Vancouver Canucks general management job. It was like, oh my gosh, seriously? Him? Why him? What in the world could Pierre Dorion do or say to get that job before any of these other people, either a Ryan Johnson or an Evan Gold or whatever? But here's the thing. Reports came out from various analysts and insiders that supposedly Pierre Dorion was such a front-running favorite for the job because he told ownership, I can turn this ship around in 2 years. Give me 2 years of your time, and we're back in the playoffs, baby. You're going to make some playoff revenue, and it's all just Band-Aid solutions, quick fixes and shortcuts here and there. Screw the foundation. We can suspend the building up with zip ties and staples. We do not need a good, solid concrete floor at the bottom. And a lot of Canucks fans lost it. There were emails, there were phone calls, there were people threatening to cancel their season tickets. There were already people canceling their season tickets even before the Pierre Dorion madness came on. And reports came out that Pierre Dorion was no longer in the mix because Canucks management and ownership, they understood just how strong of a reaction there would be from the fan base. Elliot Friedman even implied that maybe some people in the Canucks organization had received comments that were a little inappropriate in regards to expressing their disdain to the hiring of Pierre Dorion, or the hypothetical hiring of Pierre Dorion, if you will. So now, Ryan Johnson, he's been an Abbotsford Canucks general manager for a while. He's been a Vancouver Canucks assistant GM for a while. He's developed a really good system down there in the AHL, and we all understand that when it comes to thinking about the youth, thinking about the prospects, guys like Henrik and Daniel Sedin, guys like Ryan Johnson, these are the figureheads to that idea. When you start thinking about the guys in the Canucks system who have developed and who have inevitably become Canucks and who have worked their way up to the top, think of Linus Karlsson, for example. Think about a Ty Mueller. Think about a Tom Wilander or an Elias Pettersson. A lot of these young dudes somewhere along the way, Ryan Johnson or the Sedins, these people intersected and had elements in the growth and development of these prospects. So obviously Ryan Johnson coming into the main Vancouver Canucks organization as a GM, he's not going to go out there and say, yeah, 2 years? Hell yeah, let's do it, buddy. We could do that. No, he's like 5 years. It's going to take a long freaking time. Look at the Anaheim Ducks. They were a powerhouse in the 2010s, stunk in those Kevin Bieksa, Luke Shen, Michael Del Zotto years, and then they became good again, but it took them 7 years to actually showcase that these young guys that they drafted were what they wanted, and they came as advertised, and they built the team around with some pretty solid trades. They got better by trading away Trevor Zegras. They got better by trading away Jamie Drysdale because they got Cutter Gauthier and Ryan Poehling, two guys that are on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how good we thought they were going to be, but two guys that are at the very same end of the spectrum when talking about the impact that they have had within the circumstances of their role. Nobody thought Ryan Poehling would be as clutch as he was. Nobody thought that Cutter Gauthier would be scoring as many goals as he has been early on in his career like this. But the Anaheim Ducks, it took them so long to get here. The Buffalo Sabres, they had a decade-plus long rebuild. Guess what? They last made the playoffs in 2011 when Ryan Miller was their goaltender. And since then, look at all the top draft picks they had. Eichel 2nd overall, Reinhart 2nd overall, Dahlin and Power 1st overall. You had Casey Mittelstadt, what was he, 8th overall? You had Alex Nylander 8th overall? And then you got Jack Quinn 8th overall, not to mention Dylan Cousins in the 7th overall spot, and then Matthew Savoy. The Buffalo Sabres were drafting at the top of the draft for years, and only now they are looking like a powerhouse. And maybe Kevin Adams played a pretty big part in assembling that team, high-key, but the point is it took them too damn long. Not 2 years. So, over the next few months, really, depending on the moves that the Vancouver Canucks do, if they can do the right thing and shop off a Filip Hronek, for example, for a draft pick that's super significant and a number of good prospects, if they can pull off the impossible and trade away an Elias Pettersson, if the Sedins can get involved and say, yeah, that guy, we don't have a great relationship with that guy, and he's not great anymore, and he's making so much money, let's trade him away. If there is a reality where Vancouver trades Elias Pettersson under Ryan Johnson and the Sedins, and they get meaningful future pieces back, that's it. I'm fully on board. Of course, I am on board with the idea of Ryan Johnson and the Sedins already, because just the implication of what those people would bring to a new, rebuilding team that is on the start of a 5-year downfall, that is exciting. Could you imagine if we could fully, confidently say that ownership believes in the 5-year rebuild plan? Imagine if Francesco Aquilini just put his hands back up and he walked out of the room. He was like, you know what? Fine. 5 years. Do what you need to do. And then there was autonomy. Imagine that. No ownership trying to take advantage of a winning streak. Oh, the Canucks won 5 games in a row in February. That means they're getting closer to the wild card. Let's trade away the first round pick and then get, I don't know, Jordan Kyrou or somebody, a win now piece. If they can avoid this sort of thinking for a year, then I'll start to be a lot more confident that 5 years can come and go quickly enough. And as long as the Canucks keep on sucking, even though it might be a bad thing long-term if Adam Foote sticks around for the development of these young dudes, hey, guess what? The guy's not a great coach. His teams will lose. So this might actually be a great opportunity for the Canucks to tank for DuPont next year. That is, if they could actually win the draft lottery, which I think that's kind of impossible nowadays. The Vancouver Canucks have a chance to fully convince us that they are committed to a 5-year rebuild. It's been highlighted as the timeline, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is going to fulfill itself? Are the Vancouver Canucks going to extend their losing for 5 years? And what do you think needs to happen for you to be convinced that they will? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.